July is Disability Pride Month. I thought I would edit and post my Pecha Kucha style presentation that I did last year for the partial fulfillment of my honours degree. I did my honours degree at the Open Window Institute, and I did it in visual communication with a specialisation in screenwriting. So if you're seeing my face for the first time, hello, my name is Mia, and I'm a screenwriter and an actress and a filmmaker, and I make little shorts and such, and hopefully making and posting more video essays on this channel soon. But in honor of Disability Acceptance and Pride Month, I wanted to post this presentation here because my honours project is something that I'm still really proud of. So this specific presentation was a mid-year talk about research that I did last year. This was accompanied by an exhibition of the practical work that I had done up until that point. So at that point, my project was not completed yet. It is now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my research and my project before I move on to the presentation. My honours project was about disability representation, specifically within the comedy genre in film, and exploring all the reasons that these really intense stereotypes exist for disabled characters within the comedy genre, and exploring obviously solutions on how to alleviate it and how to improve disability representation so that disabled characters in comedy aren't just always the butt of the joke, but rather become fully realized characters that participate in the narrative. For this project, I, as a screenwriter, ended up developing a South African science fiction comedy series, season 1 of the series. So this series is called Disturbing Stereotypes, and it follows a 17-year-old autistic girl as she navigates a murder mystery in her town that is being attributed to her because people think she's an alien, but she's really not the alien, and she's trying to solve the murder mystery and find out who's the alien. The logline is as follows. 17 years after an alien invasion, a sardonic South African teen with mysterious powers must prove her innocence in the unnatural deaths occurring in her closed community. For the fulfillment of this project, I did a lot of work. So I developed a series Bible, which is this. And if, for anyone that doesn't know, a series Bible is basically a pitch for a series, which includes everything about the series. It includes the premise, it includes the shows or TV movies that might have inspired it, character breakdowns, episode breakdowns for the first season, speculation of a future season, the whole synopsis, everything is in here. Then I took that one step further for this project and I created a series outline. The difference between the series outline and the series Bible is just that the series outline is just a more in-depth look at every episode and a breakdown of the structure of the story. These are visual documents, so yes, they contain descriptions of characters and breakdowns of episodes and things, but they are also visual documents that I designed, inspired by the main character Annie's notebooks that she writes in throughout the show. After the series outline, I wrote 3 episodes for the show. So I wrote the first episode, the pilot, the middle episode, so episode 4, which is the mid-season, and then the finale of season 1, which is episode 8. Each of these episodes are around 60 pages in length for an hour of television, and I have them all printed out that I did at the end of the year exhibition, which is not the Pecha Kucha that you will be seeing momentarily. At the point of Pecha Kucha, I was still in the development phase and only the series Bible was completed. And then the final thing that I did for this project was I made a proof of concept or a teaser film, which is the first 5-ish minutes of the pilot episode. The teaser film is on my YouTube right now and you can watch it if you're interested. It's called Not So Alien, which is the tagline of Disturbing Stereotypes, and it is just a hypothetical opening to this show as I've written it. You can also find the entirety of this project and explore it in more detail on my website, which will be linked in the bio below or in the description below. The website doesn't include the full works, just samples of the works. If you, for any reason, want the full works, you can email me and I can consider giving it to you, but I want my work to get stolen in case this ever actually gets developed and comes into fruition. But yeah, this is a project that I'm really proud of. It's got a lot of characters with disability and disability representation, which was obviously the priority of the show. Yeah, for more information about the research, you can watch my PechaKucha. A Pecha Kucha presentation is a Japanese style of presentation, I believe, and it basically means that you have 20 slides that are each 20 seconds long, so you have around plus minus 6 minutes to get an idea across very concisely. I hope you enjoy this Pecha Kucha presentation that I did. I'm really proud of this research essay as well, which ended up being titled Disability Representation in Comedy, Film and Television, Amending Character Stereotypes Through Pluralist Genre Conventions. This doesn't exist anywhere online, really. Well, it exists to me. So if you want to read it, I think email it to me, I can send you the first chapter, maybe. I don't know, people don't want to read these days. And if some of us seem a bit awkward when our names pop up, it's because we thought we were going to walk up on our names. So when I was 18 years old, I was officially diagnosed with autism. And prior to my diagnosis, I thought that there was no way that I could be autistic. And this is largely because of media representations of autism. So if I ask you who you think of when you think of characters of autism, you probably think of some of these characters. Characters who are unsympathetic and completely unaware of other people's feelings and oftentimes quite cruel. But the unfortunate reality is this really doesn't encompass autism as a disorder. So this is kind of what sparked my research. Why do media depictions of disability so strongly inform how we think and feel about disabled people? So this brings me to the first point of my research, which is genre. So genre is in screenwriting and just in general how we categorize things according to theme and according to tone. But Carolyn R. Miller describes genre as a social action. Oh my goodness. Meaning that genre both informs and reflects societal behaviors. In the comedy genre specifically, it reflects how we feel about systems of power. And this, unfortunately, quite often means that we mock people who we perceive as less valuable and less powerful. And this is quite often disabled people, which is why disabled people are often highly stereotyped and mocked in the comedy genre. And this has a long history in film. One of the earliest films and one of the earliest examples of this is The Fake Beggar, where someone pretends to be blind to gain sympathy, which completely misrepresents what it means to be visually impaired. And these stereotypes continue to exist in our modern society. And this has been for over 100 years now, for the entirety of the history of film. And my research wants to investigate why this happens and how we can resolve it. So, disability studies is a discipline that looks to decenter what we think of as normal. Meaning that if we include disabled people in society in a more active way and we are more empathetic towards them, then not only do their lives improve, but our lives improve as well. Because around 16% of people in the world are disabled. And the older that you get, the more likely you are to become disabled. But because of these representations, disabled people have this idea that they need to become more normal in order to be accepted. And disability study seeks to do the opposite of that. So these disability stereotypes in comedy are rooted in the 5 comedy conventions outlined here, which are affection, aggression, awe, apprehension, and wit. The comedy genre is very emotional, so we laugh as an emotional reaction to these specific emotions. So for example, in the 2006 film Idiocracy, characters are represented, for example, in these 2 ways. Disabled people as violent or the object of violence, which falls into the convention of aggression, and disabled people as being romantic and sexual failures, which falls into the convention of awe. So my solution for these stereotypes is rooted in postmodernism. Postmodernism in screenwriting specifically refers to the fact that everything has multiple meanings and everything is a parody of something else and everything is commentary, which fits quite neatly into comedy. And I'm specifically going to be rooting this in genre conventions rooted in the concept of pluralism, which means that nothing has one succinct meaning. And that applies to people as well. Disabled people exist in multiple contexts just as we all do, and they don't have to just be confined to these very specific stereotypes. The first genre convention that I'll be using in order to redefine disabled people in media is genre subversion, which means setting up a genre expectation in comedy and then, as it suggests, subverting it, doing the complete opposite. An example of this is Abed from the sitcom Community, who is initially set up very similarly to those characters I showed you initially. But as the show goes on, he grows into an empathetic person who cares about his friends, and when he makes mistakes or misinterprets people's feelings, he apologizes and he moves on. Next is genre hybridity, which refers to taking themes and tones from multiple genres and combining them into new genres. So if we combine comedy with other genres, then we can express new ideas and have characters that exist in multiple contexts. For example, Entrapta, who's an autistic character from She-Ra and the Princess of Power, exists in a world that is comedy, it is adventure, it is sci-fi, it is fantasy, and she has multiple roles within the show. She is not just defined by her disability, she's an inventor as well. And it's these genres conventions that I will be using in my own writing to try and prove that we don't have to have characters that are disabled that exist in these stereotypes. It doesn't have to be this way, and we don't have to ruin comedy by making it woke or whatever people say. So my main practical will be a series called Disturbing Vredekloof, which will have multiple disabled protagonists that exist as disabled people and have their disabilities affect them, because of course disabilities affect us every day, but also have active roles in the story beyond that. The whole idea behind my research and my practical is to take away the negative connotation that disability has. Disability isn't a net negative thing. It is just another human experience that has pain, it has joy, but it is human. Because I know that if I had known what my disability actually was, and if I had authentic representations, then I wouldn't have thought of myself as weird or different or alien. I'd have just thought of myself as a human who's a little bit different. Because all of us are a little bit different. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. Subscribe for more content about film and television and just culture in general. Like I said, post shorts here about movies and TV. And yeah, you can follow me on Letterboxd, where I do little silly movie reviews. And you can follow me on Instagram as well, just to see what I'm up to in the realm of filming movies and having fun and just general chaos.